Sustaining Multicultural Cohesion, Mr. Tharman Shanmugaratnam, the Honourable President of Singapore. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me start with the basic proposition. For a multicultural society such as India to remain cohesive in today's world, it requires more than the coexistence of different races, religions, and cultures. It requires more than tolerance or a live and let live approach or even the celebration of the fact of diversity within one nation. Yes, it requires more than that.
Cohesive societies can be sustained only if people have shared hopes and a shared purpose, only if their lives are interwoven, only if there is respect for the dignity of every individual and every group. History has shown us that these attributes do not come by chance, and where they have arrived, they can also fade. We have to develop these attributes through the active weaving together of multiculturalism by government, educationists, religious and community leaders, the media, and of course, citizens themselves.
As we look around the world, we see multiculturalism in retreat and social cohesion weakening in too many societies. The Edelman Trust Barometer, based on a large-scale global survey done each year, found that more than half of all respondents globally felt that their societies were more divided than at any time in living memory, and only 20% of respondents said they would live near someone who had different views from them. Just think about that.
The weakening of togetherness reflects a mix of factors besides a waning enthusiasm for multiculturalism. It also reflects political polarization, which is advancing on the world with the weakening of the moderate middle ground and the rise of the extremes, particularly the rise of the parties of the radical right, which preach either overtly or subtly the exclusion of the other cultures, other races, or other nationalities. Extreme right and exclusionary views are entering the mainstream. The causes are not recent. The forces are somewhat deeper. In this regard, let me mention just two.
First, the polarizing effects of a fragmented media landscape and the rise of social media. There is a good argument for the social media. It empowers many more voices around the world, leads to free access to information, and has a democratizing effect in many societies. But we can't run away from the fact that much of social media is now shaped by algorithms developed by large tech companies that have a polarizing effect. Citizens in many societies no longer have a shared reality, a shared framework of facts, upon which they form different views. We no longer live in that world because increasingly a more divided social media platform is leading to a more divided public and more divisive politics. Studies have shown that if people have regular exposure to a feed of stories that accord with their ideological preferences or views, it strengthens their preferences. Yes, it makes them more partisan and thereby polarizes society.
Second, not as much noticed is the growing isolation in the way people live their lives. Societies can advance economically while regressing socially. What we are seeing today in all our countries is a major shift in behavior over 2 decades. People are more likely to take their meetings home, more likely to shop from home, more likely to eat takeaways or delivered orders at home, rather than out in the neighborhood. Thus, people are living lives more on their own and have less face-to-face interactions with people who live around them. The weakening of those interactions has consequences because it is those interactions that enable people to understand differences and to accept people who disagree with them. And this too is contributing to the loss of social cohesion.
So, in light of the above, How do we respond? How do we restore trust in each other, in each society, and in the system? How do we build shared hopes and a shared purpose?
Shared values and a belief in a common future do not come naturally, and there are always countervailing sentiments below the surface. Multicultural societies must therefore be actively woven. Traditionally, in many societies, that meant weaving the patchwork quilt. You know what quilts are, different patches, each with its own design and attractive when they are stitched together. But in times of stress, at times of economic insecurity, at times when polarizing forces are growing, the stitching weakens and the quilt gradually falls apart.
Hence, we need to weave a different fabric of society to sustain multiculturalism and make cohesion resilient. We have to weave threads of different colors, even different textures, into a single tapestry, or even involve many artisans in making a single fabric that creates a larger motif of a nation with many strands and many histories, but at one with itself. That's the fabric of society that we have to weave. It requires, above all, creating opportunities for interactions, the interweaving of lives. And it also requires putting in place sensible guardrails to prevent extremism and self-reinforcing polarization while allowing and encouraging the differences of views.
Education is fundamental, and that is where we must start. It is the most powerful tool a society has for integrating people. Bring children of all backgrounds together, regardless of ethnicity and social backgrounds. And equally important as the social mixing has to be the effectiveness of education in uplifting people of all backgrounds. People must see that they can get ahead on their merits with the necessary support from government and community schemes for those who start from behind. Without that evidence, it will be very difficult to sustain a sense of togetherness. Education systems must be effective in uplifting every individual and every group.
Second, we have to develop a culture of respect and solidarity through actions in everyday life. It requires everyone to pitch in. As I mentioned earlier, it's not just a job for government, but requires civil society, educators, the media, the religious and community leaders, and individuals too. Everyday deeds and actions matter, because when they are done frequently enough and people see that they are done, they cascade. And when they cascade, they create norms and thereby create a culture. Hence, we must build a community of respect in each of our societies. It goes to the heart of multiculturalism and social cohesion. Respect for all is a source of unity. It's also more than that. It is how we uplift ourselves as a society. And the respect we lend each other is the most powerful source of motivation, knowing that others are backing you and have hope in you. Yes,
it is how you can do it.
it is how we all do it.
It is how we rise together.
Thank you.